the situation that they were going through wasn't pretty. It was a really tough situation that they were going through, and I didn't feel like they were managing their finances in the best possible way. So when they called me again for like the 20th time to kind of complain and say, how they were trying to dig themselves out and what they were trying to do, I found myself, instead of trying to correct them and instead of me going into my fear about their financial situation, I instead decided to focus only on my willingness and on love. And so as they were talking, I was hearing their words, but it ended up sounding more like neutral sounds and syllables. And I remember on my back porch on the phone with them, gazing up at the trees, being willing to just, again, have a shift, to see them differently. And as I focused on my willingness to see the truth in them, because here's another concept we didn't touch upon yet. Only the capital S self in me can join with a capital S self in another person. Only the small s self in me, or ego, can join with the ego in another person. So wherever I'm coming from, if I'm coming from ego, I'm going to call out their ego. If I'm coming from spirit or my inner therapist, I'm much more likely to be able to join with them there. Or, maybe I won't see a change in their behavior, but I at least, I'm holding that higher state of mind. So I was willing on this phone call to see the truth in them, to see their higher self, to see their true self, to see their love. And as I did that, and as I just fixed my attention on that intention, out of the blue, they started talking about how they realized that they have an ego. They were like, oh my gosh, I never realized that I actually have an ego, that I actually, get a thrill out of these different business transactions and business things that aren't working right now, but used to work. And it was such a powerful example for me to see how when I bring myself to that higher state of mind, that can then sometimes show up in a relationship in a very changed way. So I didn't correct that person. I didn't do anything like I usually did. And I mean, believe me, I did many, many times, and that only led to conflict. This time was different in that I wasn't going to do that again, but I was just going to set that intention to join with the truth in them. And then they ended up having some big shifts and insights as a result of that. So that is the very interpersonal nature of this work, where working miracles isn't just about us having peace and us having, an awareness of love. It's about literally waking up with our brothers and sisters, having this experience where, because of a choice that we make in our mind, they might have a different experience in their lives. And we're not always going to see evidence of that, of course, but that's where, again, trust comes in, that we're doing the best work that we possibly can, and trust that it's all for the highest good.
Beautiful, Corinne. And it sounds like you weren't doing that. You weren't focusing on your willingness and your big S self as a way to try and manipulate your friend into seeing the light. You were just holding that space of, right now, I'm going to focus on my inner being and connect with my friend's inner being.
Exactly. The moment we try to manipulate, you better believe the ego is in. And instead, having no expectation except to accept healing in my own mind, to have my perception be healed, that's when things shifted. That's when they shifted. So I'm glad you brought up that distinction, because that's super, super important. As soon as that manipulation gets in there, ego's in charge again.
And it's bringing it back to what you mentioned earlier, how the things in our external life, the people in our external life, mirror what's going on. So there were probably things going on in your ego around finances, and holding that space healed it.
Wanting to control them, worrying about them, being afraid that they're not going to be okay, and how is that going to impact me? So for sure, yes.
Mm-hmm. And how's that going to make you look if your friends are falling apart? And
right, or family member, how's that going to make me look if a family member is falling apart? Definitely.
So many layers of stuff to uncover.
Mm-hmm. But the good news is that, we have to remember that it might seem like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. I'm such a mess. I have so much to heal. This is going to take forever. That's the temptation. And that's just the ego voice again, because This all boils down to one core belief that if this belief is healed, all the others disappear. And that's the belief that we're separate from love. You know, that's the main mistaken belief, that we're separate from God, and we are absolutely, absolutely not. So there's a quote in the Course that says it's not necessary to follow fear through all of its circuitous routes. We just have to, be willing to learn who we really are, and the rest just falls away.